Some of you may remember what this corner of the layout looked like not too long ago. I've been busy adding a little bit more ground cover, and I've started to use a small amount of static grass. And I'll show you that in a close-up in just a moment. This is the NOC static grass system. This is the main unit. It's simply powered by a 9-volt battery in the back. This is the wire you clip onto a nail that you place into a ground area that's saturated with glue, and then you shake on whatever static grass that you like. This is a sample that comes with the package. It's a nice bright green, short length static grass. The applicator comes with 3 different filters: small, medium, and large. I'm not sure the benefit of such a large opening. I found that when I first tried to use it with long grass even, much too much comes out and you end up getting a furry looking ground surface. I also bought the extra applicator cover here for a very small area. It's a funnel and allows you to do very small areas, because when you use the full width in any one of these covers, you cover quite a large area. I had an interest in doing some very small areas first just to see how it worked. It comes with 2 filters as well, and just like with this one, I found that this one here lets far too much material come out, so I used the smaller filter to really get a good control over the amount of static grass that comes out of the applicator. For an even extra tight control over the amount of grass that comes out, I found that combining these 2 filters added a really good control. You don't want too much static grass coming out of the applicator. It ends up being, as I said before, much too furry looking, or you'll have quite a few clumps of static grass. They're basically lying flat, because as soon as they hit the glued area, if they come out flat rather than standing up charged with the static electricity, you won't get them to stand up again. Using static grass doesn't mean giving up on the traditional ground foam materials. I think the best results come from a mixing of the 2 products. And here are some of my favorite ones. Woodland Scenic's Earth Blend, fine ground foam. Bachmann has an earth tone that's got a bit of green in it. It's not quite the same as Woodland Scenic, so it gives you a bit of variety. Woodland Scenic's Fine Turf, it's burnt grass colored, quite dark. It looks like weeds. Bachmann again has something also called burnt grass, but you can see it's a richer green color. And then we get into some of the new static grasses that I purchased for the NOC Grassmaster. This is also burnt grass. You can see it's different again in terms of color from the other 2 burnt grasses, which gives you a bit of variety. And here we have light green. All these Woodland Scenics flock are about the same length, about 2 to 3 millimeters long. Here's a medium green, a little bit darker. And I've also got a Harvest Gold that I haven't tried yet, but that'll be interesting. And going back to the ground foam, it's a mix. It's a blend of fine greens, and it's got a bit of yellows into it, so it looks like there could be flowers, like buttercups or something, in the grass. I also picked up some long dark grass. These two are by seafloor. This one is 6 millimeters long. Kind of looks like reeds or something that you'd find in a wet area. A long, tall green grass. And shorter 4 millimeter that I haven't tried here, summer grass green. Again, a different shade of green. So there's quite a bit of variation that you can find in the colors, and the best results I think will be from mixing them to some degree. Lastly, I've also got some clump foliage from Woodland Scenics, and both light green and medium green. And this is basically just ground foam that is shredded. Some of it sticks together in quite large clumps. Sometimes it comes apart in very small little bits and pieces. But it makes for nice little bushes that you can have along the side of ditches or streams. If you get a large enough piece out of here, you can make quite a large bush or even a small tree. So, here are the tools of the trade for applying ground cover. Spray bottles, very handy to have. Water, a few drops of alcohol mixed in with the water, and this will allow the glue that you do apply after you've put down the ground cover to seep in without moving the ground cover around. You can also use a spray pump if your glue has been diluted enough. That works well, but you have to remember to wash out your spray pump afterward, otherwise you'll only be using it once. When it comes to using the static grass, you need to apply a slightly thicker amount of glue, and not with a spray pump. With ground foam, you can apply the glue to your raw surface, as well as applying the glue afterwards with the spray pump to set it down and add layer upon layer. With the static grass, of course, you generally just put down the layer on top of your base and shake out the static grass and keep your fingers crossed that it stands up when it hits it. And then you could come back with a second coat after it's completely dry by spraying it with a spray pump and applying a different color, or even mixing in some ground foam. Here's a closer view of the ditch alongside the main line. You can see that I used static grass. This is the long 6 millimeter fibers for the tall grass in the ditch, and I lined either side of the ditch with bits of clump foliage from Woodland Scenics. Here's a close-up view. You can see the long grass. Came up quite well, I thought. To break up the monotony of low, flat areas, I added a couple more trees to the wider area back here. These are the Scenic Express Super Trees. And with the clump foliage, I added a few bushes here and there. You can also see where along the edge of the road I've started to use a bit of the shorter fiber static grass to blend in with the ground foam. And you see more of it. Here's a close-up of where the short static grass meets the ground foam. I think there's a place for both types of materials, and the best results are sometimes achieved by mixing the two together. And you see it again. The mixed green ground foam makes it look like there's little flowers or lightly different shades of green and a bit of yellows in it. If you look closely, you can see there's more static grass just around the edges of the bushes. I actually put in the patches of static grass first and glued bushes around the middle of it, just leaving a hint of grass surrounding the bushy area. And you can see it over here as well. Just a little hint of longer grass surrounding the bushes. And here's another little oasis of long green grass in the middle of the little bushy area, a couple of shrubs poking up in the middle. The Woodland Scenics fine ground foam earth color is also handy for making little beaten pathways that kind of look like dirt paths. So all along the spur here, running between the ground throws, where the crews are walking back and forth to throw switches, there's a little footpath. That's just ground foam. Came out pretty good. Now, one of the tricks to getting this path to look like a path is to run your fingernail along the ground foam as it's drying to flatten it out. Makes it look like a path. Otherwise it'll just look like the rest of the ground foam kind of raised a little. And as promised, here are the final details of the interlocking. As you can see, I have replaced the three-headed signal mast with a two-headed mast to match the one on the other end of the interlocking. And we've got our little dwarf signal in place now. So all signals are in.